Well, Frank Martin is all ready for another big action-packed thrill ride as the Transporter. So prepare yourselves as I review Transporter 3. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2008 French action flick Transporter 3, released by Lionsgate along with Europa Corp, directed by Olivier Megaton. Starring Jason Statham back as Frank Martin, the titular character, and Francois Berleand as Inspector Tacconi. This time around, Frank Martin returns to France in order to continue his low-key business of delivering packages without question. It also stars Natalya, Rudakova, and Robert Knepper. Now, of course, this was released by Lionsgate and not Fox, who did the first two. If you haven't seen my reviews of those two films, click on that card. That'll take you to the playlist I've made in case you might have missed the first two, or if you want to see them again. I can see the first one's been doing so well. It's already reached 100 views. Very impressive. While I will tell you, it did fine and what have you here in the US, but did better overseas though. But it became the biggest one though. Let's get into the story. Having returned from Miami to the French Riviera, Frank Martin is unsuccessfully fishing with his friend Inspector Tacconi, who later receives a call about a black Audi A8 that sped past French customs and evaded the police in a car chase. While Tacconi returns to headquarters to give Frank's alibi in Odessa, the Environmental Agency Minister Leonid Tomalenko receives a threat from corrupt EcoCorp official Jonas Johnson to reopen business negotiations. At night, the Audi crashes into Frank's home with a wounded transporter, Malcolm Melville, whom Frank had referred when he declined a previous job. As paramedics take away Malcolm, Frank discovers a woman in the black seat of the Audi who warns him not to take her from the car. She shows him a metal bracelet she and Malcolm have been wearing, which explodes if it gets too far from the vehicle. Frank rushes outside, but the ambulance gets out of range and explodes, killing Malcolm. Frank is then knocked out by one of Johnson's henchmen. Johnson places an explosive bracelet on Frank, thus forcing him to take a package and the woman named Valentina to Budapest. Tomalenko negotiates to postpone signing EcoCorp's agreement that will allow the ship with the chemicals into his country. While Tarconi researches into Johnson's motivations, Frank goes off course and visits a garage to try to deal with the bracelet. After defeating Johnson's men, Frank's mechanic friend Otto cannot disarm the device on the car. In Budapest, Johnson tells Frank that he is fired. One of Johnson's men steals the Audi with Valentina inside, thus leaving Frank to chase him down by bicycle and retrieve them both. After Frank and Johnson agreed to call it even, Johnson sends him to Bucharest. But Frank and Valentina are chased by a black Mercedes-Benz E-Class driven by Tomalenko's agents. After opening the package in the trunk, Frank realizes Valentina is the real package. Valentina then seduces Frank by holding his car keys, resulting in them having sex. Valentina, who is revealed to be Tomalenko's daughter, explains that she was drugged in Ibiza and was transported by Malcolm in order for Johnson to blackmail her father. Now I'm going to the final act and the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Johnson redirects him to Odessa, where he and his men surround them on a bridge. Although Valentina is delivered to Johnson and her bracelet removed, Johnson's men shoot at Frank's car. Frank drives off the bridge into the lake, fooling Johnson into believing that he is dead, but survives by using the air from the car's tires to inflate a buoying device. Aboard the train, Johnson lets Tomalenko talk to Valentina and gives him 15 minutes to sign the contract. After Tarkoni and the Ukrainian police retrieve Frank and the Audi, Frank continues his chase and jumps the car on top of the train containing Johnson and his men, where he takes out all of Johnson's men but cannot attack Johnson because he is too far from his car. After Johnson separates the train cabs, Frank jumps his car into the cab and beats Johnson, strapping him with a bracelet and sending his car into reverse. Johnson breaks free but is inevitably blown into pieces inside the cab. Frank reunites with Valentina in the rubble. Upon hearing from Tarkoni that Valentina is safe, Tomalenko tears up the EcoCorp contracts before heading for his business conference. The cargo ship is raided by police and sent away from Ukrainian shores, while Frank and Tarkoni return to fishing in Marseille. Valentina, who is in the boat with them, suggests they eat out at a nearby restaurant instead. End of story. So, what did I think of Transporter 3? Though I've only seen it a couple of times, I will say it was fun, what have you. While its reviews were a little less than the previous two films, but however, it still was the big and most successful, highest grossing film in the trilogy, going on to make 112 million worldwide. It made 31 million here in the US, which was a little less than the previous film, and 77 million in other countries. The film was released on November 26 in 2008. Now, the film currently sits at 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying that this middle installment in the franchise is a few steps down from its predecessors, featuring generic stunts and a lack of energy. Yeah, that is kind of a bit of a downside, but however, it does, however, provide some pretty good action in some parts. Roger Ebert gave praise to Megaton's direction for sidestepping the shaky cam for more stable visuals, and found Sam to be a splendid action hero, calling it a perfectly acceptable brainless action thriller, inspiring us to give a lot of thought to the complex sequences we would have been better off sucking on as eye candy. Please stand by. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, yes. Entertainment Weekly said, well, knowing how the plot is similar to the previous efforts, but said it makes good on its formula and no pretensions. The Austin Chronicle said the film is terrifically stupid fun in the very best or worst, depending on your tolerance for this sort of thing. And the AV Club said the movie falls short of the standards set by the first two, but gave praise to the speed-like bracelet gimmick for delivering on the action scenes and the decent chemistry between Sam and Rudakova, concluding that it's enough to pass the time, but just barely. And the Washington Post called it the best of the unapologetically ridiculous series, pointing out the hyperactive editing and the cartoonish vehicular stunts and fight scenes, concluding that overall the production has the polish and pace that producer co-writer Luke Besson's work is known for. Any complaints about the lack of substance are pointless. Well, I do agree, yeah. But anyway, Transporter 3 did have some good action. I thought it was fun after giving it a second time watch. Anyway, now Jason Statham returns as Frank Martin. He's still good. Natalya Rudakova plays Valentina. She's good. Francois Berleand once again plays Inspector Tarkoni, and he's good. Robert Knepper plays Jonas Johnson, and he's good. And Jerome Crabbe If I mispronounce it, I apologize. Plays Leonid Tomalenko. So not bad of a villain. And there's many others. The score was done by Alexandra Azaria, and that was pretty good. So it did have some pretty good music and what have you, like the other two films had. But anyway, I wouldn't consider it to be my favorite of the franchise, but it did provide good action though. So with everything I've said about the film, Transporter 3 is pretty good. But would I recommend it? Well, I'd say maybe a one-time watch. If you're a hardcore completionist or if you're a big-time Jason Statham fan, then I'd say go for it. And that's about it. That's about all I can say. So what did you think of Transporter 3? Let me know in the comments section below. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of The Expendables. Yes, with Expendables 4 not too far away, I'm going to be giving you the Expendables trilogy next. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, consider checking out my reviews for these other Jason Statham films. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of The Italian Job from 2003. The upper right-hand corner is my review of Fast and Furious 6. Or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of the recent hit, Fast X, from this past summer. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.